Good morning. Good morning. Buenos días, mi amigos. Que lo que? Morning, Grandpa Ralph. As always, GG's, Grandpa Ralph in the chat. Watching, talking about stocks now, telling me about IPOs to watch. Love it. Got the whole family going. Welcome, guys. Good morning. Vicente Guzman. Bonjour. Yeah. Pierre, bonjour. Bonaria. All right. So, interesting morning, right? Interesting morning. You haven't broken anything yet to cause aggressive downside, which is interesting, right? It's not there yet. That's why we got to be a little bit cautious on, we got to keep our minds open today. That's for sure. We have to keep our minds open today. We have not broken that 383 on the QQQ. That's going to be your big watch. Today. So we got to stay objective. Definitely some weakness on tech, and I'll definitely be looking for it. But we have some key levels. The ES has not moved down at all. So something to really, really pay attention to today. The S&P 500 is basically flat. The Dow is green. I think the Russell is green as well. Some weakness on tech, but nothing that is broken. There's one level that's broken, and a nice rejection as well, right? That 16,000 level we were talking about, that's a very nice rejection. So we know that. We know we don't want to be long into 16K, but some very key levels to be paying attention to today. So let's come into today being objective, making sure we're paying attention to levels more than just, hey, I'm short the market because Tesla went down. I'm short the market because Netflix went down. That's not going to work for us today, okay? It's not going to work for us today. Still a lot of things in the way, a lot of earnings out there. Nice downside overnight. Could be some more, right? I definitely am looking for it. Trust me. I I think the downside trade will be easier because it could get nice and slippery, right? I always like those elevator down trades. Those are always the best. But, all right, we got to stay objective here. All right. That's the key, right? That is the name of the game today. The name of the game is to look both sides. Look both sides. Keep an open mind. Don't come in just looking for one thing. Michael, thank you, man. I appreciate that. New donation. Thank you, man. I need a new donation sound. All right. So, today, I have a QQ388 call. Testo, I would not double down or quadruple down on that, my friend. That's a tough one. That's pretty far out of the money with no time left on expiration. I would probably just sort of, if it's probably like 90% down. So I'd probably just let it sit, take the loss, and move on. All right. 8:05, 8:04, whatever it is, let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Thank you again for being here. Thank you again for starting your morning with me. I know you like to look at my beautiful face every morning. So let's do it again. Yeah. Here for the schedule. We're here for the schedule. 7/20, July 20th. Earnings economic calendar. We all know what happened yesterday. Tesla, Netflix earnings. Pretty much flat until the earnings calls on Tesla. And then Tesla sort of drove that downside. But I believe Tesla is still over 280. Okay? So we'll look at these levels. There's a key level at 280 on Tesla. Today, on the earnings or the economic side, jobless claims 8:30, home sales 10 o'clock. We'll see if there's anything there. Jobless claims 8:30, home sales 10 o'clock. All right? We'll see if there's any movement there. Earnings calendar, I think you have a few small ones today. Yeah, you had TSM pre-market. Let me pull that up. I believe TSM is lower this morning off of earnings. So here's your earnings for today, this morning, right? Obviously yesterday, Tesla, Netflix, United, IBM. This morning, TSM, American Airlines, J&J, Blackstone. After hours today, really nothing I'm interested in. You got, nothing. Capital One, CSX, PPG, nothing really. American Express, Friday open, pretty much over for the earnings. This was the big event. TSM is also something to watch for the semiconductors. We'll take a look at that one today. All right. So Tesla, Netflix levels, as always, we'll take a look at those. Amazon flag break. This is interesting. I'm in this trade. I did take some nice profits on it yesterday, and I'm still holding about 4. I think I'm holding 4 contracts, just a little size to see if there's continuation. Microsoft, really interesting Microsoft chart today. Definitely a watch for me. NVIDIA levels, Meta 316, Apple 194.50, and Coinbase. I actually popped Coinbase on here because you got a real interesting 110 level at Coinbase. But a lot to look at. We'll look at AMD. Let's just get started because we've been running out of time on these live streams. I talk a little bit too much, so I'm going to stop blabbering, and I'm just going to get right into the charts. So press that like button, guys, if you could. Get those early likes. Those help when we try to get 1,000 at the end. So some early likes always help. Caesar, $5 donation. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support. Appreciate that $5. That'll pay for my coffee today. I very much appreciate that, Caesar. You know I need it. There is something about your schedule that just blows my hair back. Get you a coffee. Thank you, Jay Price. As always, man. What a man. What a good guy. What a good guy. All right. So I'll start with my longer term idea here, right? My longer term idea. Actually, you know what? We'll keep that for another day. Let's focus on the short term. Let's focus on short term because that's really what matters. What matters is the short term, and that's the levels, and that's what matters today. So let's get right into it. NASDAQ, right? This is it, right? You have to be below this zone here. This zone is holding, right? If this zone holds, you are not shorting into this, okay? I don't care, how bad Netflix went down, how bad Tesla went down. You are not shorting into this 15,820, 15,840 zone. It is holding very well right now. And so there is possibility of some morning upside, maybe a rejection here, maybe we even regain this level, right? I'm not putting that past this market. I will not put that past the market. We've seen the strength in the market. I'm not going to put past the idea that this could bounce off this 15,820 to 15,840 on the NASDAQ futures. This is a previous high, right? You can see right here, previous rejection highs, previous rejection high here, and you just bounced off of it this morning. So what do you want to see for us to get some actual downside today? In my opinion, you're really going to want to see a break and hold below the pre-market lows, right? I would not short the NASDAQ. I would not short tech until you see a very clear break and hold below the pre-market lows. That is a very easy, just sort of easy and a very easy thing to keep in your mind, right? Just say to yourself, let's look for the break and hold below pre-market lows. If I see that, I'll take that short, right? That is sort of what my mindset is this morning. So if I go to the 5-minute chart, if I look at this chart on the 5-minute, we can see those wicks that bounced off this 15,820 right here. If I see this, right, if I can see a little dance like this, and I can see maybe a bear flag start to set up into that 820, right, then I'll take that short, right here. I'll take that short right there. That would be the nice short. Told you all short Google. Great, man. That's my biggest pet peeve, okay? Just so you know that. There is absolutely no reason to come back and try to prove to yourself, prove to other people that you were right. That is a very toxic thing to think in your mind. I hate that. Hate it. I could say that every day of the week. I could come on this live stream and say, I told you to do this. I told you to do that. I choose not to, right? Because I'm just here to actually help. Yeah. Anyways, 15,820. That's your level, right? 15,820. Keep an eye on that. If you're above this zone, just be a little bit cautious on the short side today. You might play some games above this demand. All right? Now, the question is, would I be long off this level? No, that's not what I'm saying, right? I would not be long off this level either, right? Why don't I want to be long off this level, right? Because I don't want to long into previous day lows and into pre-market high rejections, right? Just because this level is holding does not mean that you're going to get a really nice long off this level, right? Because there's still levels above to be paying attention to. So this is a little bit of a no trade zone for me, right? This is a little bit of a no trade zone for me because I don't really want to be long into this rejection, right? And into this previous day low, right? Because if I'm long right here, maybe you catch a few points, but you're going to expose yourself to this supply rejection, right? The pre-market highs and the previous day lows. So where would I be comfortably long today, right? Where would I be comfortably long? A break and hold above previous day lows, right? If we get a break and hold above yesterday's lows, then that is possibly where you could get a little bit of a bounce and maybe some continuation, right, to the upside if the market really starts to heat up. So these zones, right, these zones and in between this zone, it's pretty much, you're going to have to respect your channel, right? You either look for shorts here, longs here if you want to. If you want to play in between it, I'm not saying it's a bad trade. You just have to, right? Newer traders have a hard time respecting that because they short here, right? They short up here and they just hold it until who knows when, and then it bounces on them and they take a loss, right? If you're going to play in this channel, you have to be a precise trader. You have to short at the supply, take profits here. If you want to long at demand, you better take profits here. All right, if you hold this thing out too long and you overstay your welcome, you get caught in a reversal. So to be long today, above previous day lows. To be short today, below pre-market lows, right? Long above here, short below here. Until we see a move like that, you are in this channel. You're in this channel between this pretty major demand and this previous day low and pre-market high. That's what you're watching today. Very clean, very easy. Stay patient. Wait for the move, right? If you start getting antsy and you're short before the break, right? Let's say you're like, oh, I'm shorting here. You get this move. You're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm up 20% on SPX. Bam, right? That's not what we want to be a part of. We want to be a part of that give-up move. The give-up move will come if we break under pre-market lows. So that's your watch, all right? If you break under that pre-market low today, if you break that 15,820, I think you target this low right here, this Tuesday low, right? Tuesday low, 750, 740. That would be the flush move that I would like to take part of if we break that 820. All right, we break that 820, you probably get a flush move into this 750, 740. Okay? If you break that 750, 740, then the party started, right? If we start breaking this, party has begun, and we're going to 680. This is where if this really starts to come down, then we'll have to watch. But weakness, overall weakness, keep that in mind, right? Overall weakness, short term. Do not long into this 900 level. You saw how nasty the 16,000 was yesterday, right? So we know that's hard, right? We're not going to be too long into this. So some pretty clear levels. We know the 16,000 is double topped. We know that's major supply. We saw the weakness off of it. Just be careful in the short term, getting too aggressive on the short side before we lose 15,820. All right? This is the same as 383 on the Qs. 383 to 382.50. All right, so I have a little bit of a zone there. 382.50, 383. You guys can see here on the Qs, this was the previous high. This was a previous high right here, and we held it as demand here in the pre-market. All right, so you can see that. Do I want to be short here before we break yesterday's lows and 383, right? It's a little bit down further. You might want to push that down, right? If you want to be real cautious, you might want to push it down to like the 382.40, just so you have the entire zone mapped out. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, just so that you are aware, right? Part of pushing these zones, part of having these zones on your screen, which I've talked about in the past, is so that when you're trading in the short term and you don't quite, it's a way to signify where you are really quickly, right? You need to be able to make quick decisions on the market. And so if I see the QQQ in a green zone and I'm starting to build short ideas in my head, I need to look over at my QQQ chart and see whether it's in a green zone. Because if the QQQ is in a green zone that I've created, right, and I'm looking at shorts, then I need to double think. I need to be, all right, hold on, right? Hold up. Wait a minute. Am I going to short here if my QQQ's in this green zone? Why is it green? And then I can look and say, okay, we're still above that pre-market low, right? So you got your pre-market lows here around that 382.40. You have these previous highs around 382.40, which is holding in the pre-market right now. I would not be too aggressive on the short side into this zone. If you break this pre-market low on the QQQ, that's where the party starts, right? The party starts under that pre-market low, and you probably move back into our 380 level, right? Remember our 380 level? If you break under pre-market lows, that's probably where you get that move if we get a nice aggressive downside today into that 380, okay? Now, if you look to, if you're going to try to long off this 383, you better be cautious of the previous day lows right here and pre-market highs, right? So if you do long off 383 today, please be aware of this 384.30. That is a nasty pre-market high, and that is a very clear previous day low, right? So if you long into this, you better be a profit taker here because this could be a rejection point, 384.30. To be comfortably long today, you need a break and you need a hold above that level, right? You need a break and a hold above that level. The schedule I showed is the same as yesterday. That is incorrect. Incorrect, Michael. I can show you right now. Actually, let me double check for you, just so I know. Yeah, no. This is yesterday's schedule. Tesla, Netflix, Apple double top, Google previous lows, AMD 116.50. This is today's. Different. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. 382.40. You guys can see right here, 383 demand, and then that 384.30 supply. All right. Those are your QQQ levels. ES. This one's interesting. Definitely a clear weakness up here, right? Definitely a clear flat top that's building, right? That is a very clear rejection, just sort of tired upside. You can clearly see that. 4,600, clear as day supply, right? We saw it all day yesterday. This entire zone, which I talked about, is going to be tough. Now, you're back under 45.95 this morning on the ES futures, and you can see those rejections coming in again. Right? You can see those rejections coming in again. Rejection at the previous lows. Right? So very, very clear. I would not be long today on the ES into 4,600. There's no situation where I try to build a long on the ES. There might happen, right? It might happen. People raising their hands to get posterized by fans. Hey man, you can't just let it go, you know? There's no situation where I'm long the S&P into 4,600. There's just simply not. I don't care if it happens. I'm not going to be a part of it. I don't see the meat on the bone. I just don't see the meat on the bone. You know, there might be a few point scalps. You know, if you guys are futures traders or you're scalpers on the SPY, of course there might be a few point scalps to the upside. Let's say off 45.80. For me personally, that type of meat is just not worth it. For the type of way I trade, I like to get, an actual, extension move. I like to see an actual move that I can have some confidence in. I'm not too much of like a channel scalper. So yeah, there is opportunity, right? There definitely is for longs, maybe off this 45.80 into 45.95, maybe above into 4,600, right? That play is possible, something like this, right? But I just can't. I would not be able to get myself too long into this 45.95 and into this 4,600. It just is too difficult for me to get behind. So that's my mindset on that. If you break under 45.80 today, that I think is where the party starts, right? So 45.80, you can see that low. You can see these lows over here. This is a very clear sort of channel low, the floor, right? I think if you break that 45.80, that's where the floor starts to give out, right, on the S&P 500. If you can get below this low, right, and below these lows, and below a very psych 45.80 level, right, that's where I think you come back down and retest the 45.60. This would really be the meatiest move, right, the juiciest move on a 45.80 rejection into 45.60. Is it a terribly bearish move? No. And is it a move that I think is actually quite healthy for the market? Yes. Right? If you start seeing a market sort of trade sideways up here and start to lose steam, right, you need to pick up more buyers, right? You need to pick up more buyers. You need to pick up more liquidity. You need a pullback, right? Because then you have people that will participate here. It's very similar to my mindset, right? Not many people want to be long into 4,600, right? A lot of traders are just saying, hey, I'm not going to long into this supply. It doesn't make sense. But I will long down here, right? They're saying, hey, if I get a pullback, I'll long, right? And that's exactly what the market needs. It needs that liquidity. It needs those pullbacks. It needs that participant to try to, to trade in the market. So that would be the healthy move I'd like to see. And I'd actually be very interested in longs off this level here, off this 45.60. Right, that would be a very interesting long idea. So we'll see if we get it. I really am hoping we do because I think it will actually increase some volatility in this market if we do get some downside here. So 45.80 double bottom low. See if that breaks today. If it does, I like that move into 45.60. And again, I might be a little bit too cautious. That's just the way I trade. But I'm really just not interested in longs into 45.95. And 4,600 up here. So we'll see if the ES can give us that move today. SPY, pretty much the same, right? You guys can see 45.85, 453.70. I'm sorry, 454, 45. What did I say? I don't even know what I said. 454.85, 454.85 here. Very clear supply above, right? And then you have that pre-market low or that after hours low here at that 453.70. Very clear channel here on the SPY. If you break this pre-market or this after hours low from yesterday, that's where I think you get your 451.40 retest back into this previous high. All right, previous high here, previous highs here, and a move to give up some of that straight up upside from Tuesday of this week. Now, let me be clear here, right? The S&P 500 is very much stronger than the QQQ today. So you have to keep this in mind. If you are looking to short, right, if the NASDAQ starts to break down, if you're looking at really weak tech stocks, that does not necessarily mean that you can use SPY and SPX options today, okay? So there is a situation today especially where the QQQ is falling, technology stocks are falling aggressively, you get into an SPX put, and it doesn't move for you, right? That is a very real possibility. You need to be aware of that today because of the outperformance that you're seeing here on the SPY, all right? The SPX could go higher as the NASDAQ moves lower today. You are seeing, right? You are definitely seeing that outperformance on the SPY this morning, right? The ES is down 0.2%, where the NASDAQ is down 0.6, right? And the NASDAQ looks a lot weaker than the ES here. So just know that. Keep that in the back of your head, right? Make sure you're aware of it before you start trading SPY SPX while looking at, tech weakness, right? It's not necessarily the same today, all right? So 45.80 on the ES, very clear. On the SPY, it's that low from yesterday after hours, 453.70, all right? Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. Not funny, man. Stop joking around. Not funny. Anyways, 30. Okay, yeah, we got above that level. Wow. We got above that level. Interesting. And the Dow is green today. So what level am I looking at here? You guys can see on the 4-hour chart, all right? This is back from December of 2022. What's the high of this candle? 35,240. Let me put a line there. 35,240. That is the high of this December candle, right? Right here. So where are we at today? 35,240. Look at this, guys. Look at this, right? We actually have to turn this green, right? Because we are above this level. So that's very key, right? That is very key. The fact that the Dow Jones, the Daniel Jones, is above 35,240 is very key, right? Why is that key? It's because it's a previous rejection point from back here in December. So if we stay above this December high on the Dow Jones, right, that is bullish, right? So be careful on the short side in Dow. Dow is very strong this morning. Dow is green. As long as it's above, I would say you create a zone here. It's not just that exact level. You create that zone. Let's say that 35,190 to 35,240. As long as you're above this zone, which is holding very nicely this morning, the Dow's in a very bullish situation here. All right. Russell. Where's Russell at? Russell Wilson. We got names for everything out here, man. What's this daily high? 2006. 2006. And then we got these highs over here. Let me throw a level here at 2006. Where did we reject? Is it 2006? Okay, yep. So you can see it already. Look at that. So your supply rejection on the Russell is right here at 2006, 2007, right here. 2006, 2007. You see those? You see that double top right there? You also see a little bit of a rising wedge here, right? You can see this little trend that has formed here on the Russell over the last, yesterday into today. 2006, 2007 is this exact high, right? It's this exact high from back here. Look at this. Right there. See this? 2006, 2007, again right here. Be careful of that level today, okay? Be careful of that level today. That's the exact level that rejected on the Russell both yesterday and in the pre-market today, okay? So if you're looking along the Russell, please be careful of longing it until you see a hold above this 2006 level on the RTY futures, all right? This could be actually a nice little trend break. This actually could be. It's actually already sort of broken, right? It's already sort of broken already. So keep an eye on that. All right. Let's get into some stocks. Tesla. So all about 280 today. It's all about 280 today. You should remember this 280 level, right? Okay. Goodbye, Michael. Adios, amigo. 280. Yeah, right? 280. It's all about that today. If we go to the, let's get more time here. Let's get more time. Let's zoom out and then zoom back in. So, 280. We have a previous high here, right? Right there, 280. We have previous highs here, 280. We have a previous high here, 280. We have some demand that stepped in after earnings, 280. Okay? If we go to the 5-minute chart, we can see we're sort of maintaining that level, right? It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but we're sort of maintaining there. It's not as clean as you'd like. It's never going to be as clean as you'd like, but it's right around there, right? See that 280 level? This is going to be your deciding factor today. Do we reject 280? Are we able to maintain 280? And you better give Tesla some time at open. You better give Tesla some time at open because Tesla is going to be out doing its best dance at open, in my opinion, right? She's going to have her dancing shoes on, and it's going to be faking people out left and right here at open. So I would wait, just sort of sit on it, watch it for the first 5-10 minutes. Does it start to build over 280, right? Does it try to bounce off of it? Does it break under 280? Do you start to see some nasty wick rejections, right? Maybe some 5-minute wicks at that 280 level. That's going to be the watch, okay? If you reject 280, we'll get into jobless claims in just a second. If you reject that 280, right? If you reject it there, then I like the downside, right? Then I like the downside. If you see a very clear 280 rejection, I like the downside towards that 272, right? And towards that 20 SMA, right? So if you get that clear 280 rejection today, I like the downside into that 280, 272, 20 SMA. Just be a little bit cautious, right? If you are short today under 280, just be a little bit cautious of shorting it, staying short into 272 and into that 20 SMA, okay? That could be where Tesla tries to do a little bounce off that 272 and 20 SMA here, right? So 280, it's all about 280 today. Stay patient, stay objective, just monitor the 280 level, watch the candles, watch the price action, see what it does at that level today. I think that's going to be very key, very key. Jobless claims, did we get anything? Not really. No. Jobless claims, what was it? 228 versus 240? I mean, nothing. Nada. All right, let's move on. Let me know if anything happens. Netflix. All right, so Netflix broke down, yes. Did Netflix break key levels? No. No, it really did not. Not yet, at least. If we go, let me get a little bit more time here on the 1 hour chart. Here's Netflix. Pretty much all that Netflix did was give up the ridiculous Tuesday move. That's all it did. That's pretty much all it did, right? Ridiculous Tuesday move, straight back down, right? All these people that chased it, bam, in your face. You guys can see right here, 430, right? 430. That's your level. Very clear. Is it breaking down anything major? No, right? You got to keep that in the back of your head. Netflix did not break down anything major. Yes, it's an aggressive move, But all it's doing is it's back at Monday's opening price, right? If you really think about it, if you really zoom out and get the whole picture here, Netflix is simply just back at Monday's price, okay? So keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. This is not, death of Netflix type move. Appreciate you every morning, bro. Just out of curiosity, do you only trade break and retest, technical sport, technical? Do you trade? No, that's all I do, man. And that's the thing I try to get across to everyone. You can't just trade freely, right? You can't, because how do you track and how do you know what you're doing is correct if you're just sort of throwing money here, throwing money there? You got to find a system. You got to stick to the system. The only way you're going to get comfortable, or the only way you're going to be profitable, is if you come into the day and do the same thing over and over again. It's not fun. It's not sexy. It's boring. But if you want money and you want to be profitable trading, it's got to be the same system. It has to be, because you have to be able to quantify. You have to be able to test. You have to be able to sort of judge how well you're doing on a certain strategy. If if you're starting to do different things every day, then how do you? There's no in science, right? There's got to be a constant. What's the constant? The constant for me is my strategy, right? And then I can sort of experiment and have that constant, which is the break and retest and my supply zones, supply and demand. So yeah, scattered. I'd say find something you find that you do well, right? Try to obviously it's going to take some time to find your strategy, but you got to stick to one thing. You have to. And if you're trying to work through what works and what doesn't, journal your trades, right? Journal the strategy that you used. See which one is more profitable. For me, it never changes. It's the same thing every morning. Break and retest of key levels. 450, right? You guys can see here on Netflix, that's your supply to watch. That's where you're rejecting this morning. That has to be watched today. Be careful of being long over 450. And if you reject 450, you could move back into that 430. I would not short Netflix today if you are above 430. I don't think it's there. You are holding the 20 SMA, right? Look at the 20 SMA holds in the past. Look at all these 20 SMA holds, right? That has not broken, right? This trend on Netflix has not broken, right? It has not broken the 20 SMA. It has not broken key demand at 430. There's going to be a lot of people that think that Netflix is going to die today. I don't see it, right? At least not yet, right? Zoom out. So 430, that's your key. If you break 430, then I'm on the bus looking for shorts, right? If you break 430, then I like it. If you break this very key demand low, if you break that 20 SMA, then I like the downside. Until then, be careful there, because that is very big. That's a big level. And you can see what it did off 430 here after earnings, right? Look at how the selling slowed down there and started to pop. So to get that short today, you need to be under 430. 430 break and retest, that's what I'd look for short side. And then just watch the 450 supply, which we're rejecting right now, all right? Amazon. So I took this nice little flag breakout yesterday. Nice trade. It was an excruciating trade, but I took the break and retest of 134.50, right? We talked about that one in the pre-market live stream, the 134.50 break and retest. This was the bull flag we talked about, and this was our 134.50 level right here, right? 134.50, 134.50. And what you'll notice yesterday, which was very nice, and where I found my entry, right? It was right here. You can see right there. That was our 134.50 break and retest. You have a break, you have a retest, candle wick, retest, candle wick, right? And so when I see this at my entry, at my retest level, that's where I look to go long. Typically, it's not always the fact, but at times, well, on a good day, right? When the price action doesn't look like this, which is an absolute disaster on Netflix or on Amazon, when the price action is actually good, right? You get a break, you get a retest, and you get some really nice continuation, right? That happens quite often, and those are the really good trades. Now, this one, not as good, right? You can see this was just a disaster. So I did hold through it. I did sell, I took profits on this break into end of day. I did hold a few into today, which will probably be red on the remaining. But I had 25 contracts. I'm left with 4. So I took about 20 off for profit. So, with 4 contracts left, it is what it is. Looking to see if there is upside continuation out of this hourly bull flag. You guys can see it right here, sort of flagged back into that retest level right there. That was a really nice retest flag breakout. Today, if you're under 134.50, I think this gets weak again, right? You need to be back over 134.50. That's the key for Amazon today. Above 134.50, I like it for upside continuation. You guys can see right here, this was a previous high. This was some previous lows, right? And this was yesterday's low at 134.50. You need to get back above that before you look for upside today. If you reject 134.50, then this thing might give up again. But I just wanted to go over that. Keep an eye on that 134.50 on Amazon today. That's going to be key. Okay, this is probably my top upside watch today. If we see upside on the market, right? If we see upside on the market, this is most likely my top upside watch. This is Microsoft, and this is a interesting. It didn't quite get back to it yet. It's pretty damn close, right? I'm gonna call it that. It's just about there. 352. Oh, excuse me. Naleev, did you send me a friend request on Discord? And if you did, or send me a DM, that's the easiest place to contact me. I'll look for it today. Can you send me, what is your Discord username? All right, so 350, 150, right? You guys can see that on Microsoft. Break, there's always the retest. What do we always say? There is always the retest. It does not matter how straight up a move is. There will always be the pullback. This is where you need to be patient for that pullback. Now, this morning, I'm going to say that this just about pulled back to the retest level. This is a nice little flag, all right? 4-hour chart. You can see, actually, you know what? It did pull back to it. What's the high over here? 352.25. 352.25. Yeah. Look at that. 352.25. Yeah, right there. See that? Let's go to the 5-minute. Okay. See that? Yeah. Okay. So 352.25, 352.25, exact level that we just saw there on the 4-hour chart, right? Look at that. That high, look what it just did at that exact level. So I'm interested, right? Does Microsoft start to hold at this level, right? Does Microsoft give us, a little bit of a slow pullback, double bottom low? Does it try to break back to the upside off this retest move, right? Does it try to break to the upside off this retest move? 352.25. I would just be a little bit cautious of that 358. That was our flush point from yesterday, right? If you are going to go long, it's like this 358. It's right around like this 358, 357, 357.50, 358 supply, right? Right in this general zone here. So I would be a little bit cautious of that, right? Because if you do long it off 352, right, you might get a rejection there around this previous low, right? Right here, right? You might see some rejections there. But, right, if this thing wants to gain some strength, then I'm interested, right? I'll be watching this. I'll be watching this 352.25, 350 zone to see if demand steps up there. Definitely a watch. A little bit weak right now. I'm not going to just be the first one in this. But if this is a retest hold, right, I'm interested in being a part of it. If it breaks back below 350, then this whole idea is done, right? If you break back below 350, the idea is done, and you're coming back to 343, right? If you break below 350, this is nothing but a pullback to this previous demand at 343. So all about this 352.25, 350 level today. See if that holds on. If it does not, look for that short under 350. NVIDIA, this one's interesting. If we get downside today, this is one of my major watches, right? NVIDIA has sort of topped out here at 480 3 times now. It's creating this sort of uptrend. If we break this uptrend today, then I like this move into 460, right? I like this move into 460. A nice quick pop down into that Tuesday low. That's something I'll watch. If you break 460, then you move to that 453. On the 4-hour chart, right? When I zoom out on this 4-hour chart, I can't help but think that NVIDIA should retest this 440, right? This is where NVIDIA should retest, 440, right there. That's where I think the retest move would be clean, right? This is a very extended move. It has no structure. It's just sort of a straight up move. We need to get back here to structure, hold this level, and then continue higher. This is my ultimate target on NVIDIA back into 440. This is a breakout point that we never really retested. So I will be watching for that downside. But before we look for that 440, we have to understand that we have 460 demand and 453 demand. If this uptrend breaks today, right, which it could be breaking right now as we speak, I like that short into that 460, 453. Keeping an eye on this one today. Definitely going to be monitoring NVIDIA to see if there's weakness there. Meta, 316 supply. This thing is just crazy weak at this 316 level. This is absolutely going to be a watch for me today. You have pretty much flat topped here at this 314, 316 level on Meta. This is that gap fill level. Don't forget that. This is the gap fill level, and it still continues to reject. If you break 311 today, then I think you start to get a little aggressive here. You have a little bit of an uptrend here that's continuing to hold on the upside here. If you can break 311, that's where I think this can really start to move lower, right? If you can get a break like this, I think you can target that 300, right? I think you can target that 300 here on Meta if there is downside in the market, if there is an actual give-up move on the market, right? If we actually get some price action, that is definitely something I'm watching. Very clear supply up here, right? Very clear supply. Risk-reward makes a lot of sense, right? Whether you're right or wrong here, your risk-reward is great. You're risking maybe over this high for a target into 300, right? About 12 points lower for maybe a 4-point loss. It's about a 3-1. So definitely a watch. I would want to see it under 311 for it to really start to work, but definitely an interesting watch here for me on Meta. I can see the rejection starting to step in here, and if that NASDAQ starts to break down, I like Meta to retest this original breakout point at 300, okay? So something I'm watching there pretty much all week into next week. Apple, little double top. I mean, more than a double top. A little, again, another stock that's been sort of tired at this 194.50 level. Definitely a watch here, right? We can see 194.50, 194.50, 194.50, 194.50. Why did that? Okay, yeah. So very clear, right? 194.50 rejections. Let me go to the 15-minute chart here. You can see it right there. However, right, I would not be short Apple unless it's under 192.50, right? So here's your 15-minute. You guys can see here, we have a pretty defined channel. It's about a 2-point channel. Rejections at this red zone, demand at this bottom zone, right? 194.50, 192.50. Sorry about that. I would look for the break, right? Look for the break of either side. You either look for the break of this 250 for that downside into the 20 SMA, or you look for the break and hold above for upside if the market's strong. Either way, I think Apple is a good watch here in this range. Just got to wait to see which side it breaks, either above this 450 or below this 250. Just wanted to point out Coin real quick. Coin is very interesting here. This 110 level looks real tough. So keep an eye to see, I think Coin, if it really starts to hold above 110, could get interesting, right? Could get a squeeze again. On the flip side, if you start to get a little breakdown here and a supply rejection of 110, this could be a short into that 100, right? So a nice little channel here to watch on Coin, 110 to 100. You can definitely watch this. There's probably going to be some opportunity here. Watch that 110 supply rejection above. That has been pretty apparent, right? So keep an eye on that 110 on Coin. I wanted to go over AMD real quick. AMD, you guys saw how nasty that thing was yesterday. I tried to dip buy AMD back at like 117, 118 yesterday. Did not work. Took a loss. I thought there would be more strength here. So I tried to take a dip buy right here around this pre-market previous day high, right? You guys can see right here. This is where I entered my dip buy, right in this general area, 119s, 118s, right, to try to play it off previous day high. We started to see some bounce off that level, but AMD, again, just liquidation. I mean, just weak. Nothing, no life. And what a 122 supply rejection. So if AMD wants to be this way, right? If AMD wants to be weak, this could be very interesting. We are back under that 116.50 supply. We are back under previous day lows, all right? So if I see AMD here, if I see AMD reject previous day lows and reject this low from Tuesday, right, this could be a nice little short side play on AMD. This thing has been nothing but weak. And if we see previous day low rejections and Tuesday low rejections, definitely looking for the downside. Yeah, 20 SMA about to cross under the 50 here. That would probably be your target down to around 113. Watch previous day lows and watch Tuesday lows for a potential short entry there on AMD. That thing was sold off all day yesterday. Plus, you have TSM weakness this morning. You have some TSM semiconductor weakness on earnings. So that could sort of help. That could sort of aid you in that play. Google did pretty much what we talked about, right? We talked about that straight upside move on Google, right? Obviously, someone came in here and said they said it first. Actually, I think I said it first, but I don't not that way, right? That's not who I am, nor am I ever going to be that way. That's just childish. If you guys watch the live streams, you remember me pulling up the volume profile on Google here. You should vividly remember, right? The volume profile that we pulled up on Google. And we talked about the void in volume, right? And how if you get into that void, things start to get aggressive, right? So pretty much Google did exactly what we thought, right? It rejected that 124.50. It got into that low volume void, and that's where the party started. So again, just a great example of how this works, right? This works all the time. When you guys see straight up moves, you should look at it as an opportunity to play it back to the downside, right? When you see straight up moves, you should absolutely look for it to trade back to the downside, right? So that was very nice. Congrats if you guys caught that. Yeah, we all said it first, you know? Hey, I said it first. You said it first. Who gives a shit? Honestly, who gives a shit? Did you make money on it or not? Me? No, I didn't. I didn't trade it. So I'll take that on the head. I did not trade it, right? That's me. This guy. I didn't trade it. However, very nice setup. Congrats if anyone caught that, right? Very nice setup. Little bear flag right here into that 124.50. Beautiful downside. Just be careful of that 121.50 demand today, all right? It might start to hold up there. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let's take another look at the NQ real quick. So NQ's right at 4th and 1 here. 4th and inches, right? Look at this. 4th and inches, as Gold would say. You're right there at that low. 15,820. Watch out for that. That's the key today. QQQ, right at that low, right? 382.40. That's your watch today. ES, watch that low on the ES, right? Right here, right? Watch that low on the ES at that 45.80. And watch that low on the SPY at that 453.70, all right? That's your major watch today. That will give you the guide, right? That will guideline your day. Watch the pre-market lows. Vincent, thanks to you, I'm now a believer in the break and retest. The retest works so much more reliably, and it's less scary. The hard part is to let the initial move go without you. Yeah, I agree. Hey, if you you saying that makes me know you get it, right? That means you're on a good path. Tam Panda. You saying that makes me, know that you're on a good path because you know that the strategy entails missing the first breakout move, right? And that's okay, right? That's okay. We don't need to be part of the first breakout move because there's a high % chance the first breakout move just gives it all back, doesn't hold the retest, and that's how you sort of avoid getting stuck in fake breakouts, right? You don't want to be stuck in a fake out. A fake breakout? What do they call it? Yeah, fake out, I guess. All right. Press the like button. How about that? How about that? Woo shirt. What was the jobless claims at 8:30 today? You got it, man. Here it is. 228 versus 242. All right. I'll scream back at you. You got it, brother. All right, guys. Have a fantastic day. It's always a good time here. It's always a good time. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.